What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with T-Mobile Revvl 6 5G camera tips and tricks. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to get the most of all the various cameras on this device. Now, the first thing I want to go over are all the various cameras that we're actually getting here with the phone. So we have the front-facing camera, which is 5 megapixels, and then on the back of the device, there's a triple camera setup with a 13 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. So as the depth sensing camera does imply, we do have portrait mode at the rear camera, but unfortunately, with this phone, there is no portrait mode for the front facing camera. So here's how things look on the camera app. This is the main camera right now. Then from here, we can go over to the More tab to access the macro camera. And with the macro camera, we can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. Then from there, we can go over to live focus to get portrait mode so we can get those nice blurred out backgrounds. But again, as I mentioned before, if you want to do a portrait selfie, unfortunately that feature is not available. Now you can take a standard selfie, as you can see right now, but if you then go from here to live focus, it does flip things back around to the rear camera. So that definitely is a bit disappointing, and if you are somebody that does like to take portrait selfies, then just know that unfortunately that feature is not being offered here. But then from here we can go over to video mode, and this phone does support 2K video as the maximum video resolution, so you can go to the settings here and then go to video settings to adjust the video size. We have some other options as well, so again, the 2K right there. There's also 16:9 and 1080p. You can also take 1:1 video at 1440p, so essentially a square video. And then there's also an option for full video, which essentially is the entire aspect ratio of the phone itself. We also have an option for 60 FPS for the video recording, which is pretty nice, but that is limited at just 1080p or the 1440p for the 1:1 ratio. Then heading back to the main area, we also have an option for night mode. Now then flipping around to video mode on the front-facing camera, we do have a few less options. So for example, you cannot take 2K video with the front-facing camera, but there are options for 1:1 and then the full aspect ratio of the phone itself. And then heading back over to the more detailed settings options for video mode, you can see for the front-facing camera, there is no 60 FPS supported at all in any of the various modes. Now then from here, we can go over to night mode. So if you want to take some photos outside at nighttime, then this will definitely help quite a bit and kind of brighten things up. Also heading back over to the More tab, there's some other functions as well. So there is Pro mode. In Pro mode, we have some other options for a variety of different adjustments, such as ISO and white balance. So that's pretty nice. We also have panorama, slow motion, hyperlapse, and then macro, as I showed you a little bit before. Now, if you want to actually customize this bottom row of options, you can go up to this pencil up here, and then from there, you can edit what's down there. So you can see right now, by default, we have night mode, video, photo, and live focus in that main bottom area. But if we want to put macro in there, for example, just grab onto that, drop it in, then go back, and you'll now see that we do indeed have macro down here in the bottom main menu. Now then up top here, some of these options are redundant from what I already showed you, but you can see, for example, we have the ability to quickly switch between 4:3, 16:9, 1:1, and then the full aspect ratio. Also up here, we have an option for some various filters. So there's a grayscale filter, for example, a vivid filter, vintage filter. So a lot of different options there regarding different filters. So that's nice. We also have an option for a timer, so 3 seconds or 10 seconds. And you can apply that to either photo or video mode. We also have a flash up here too. So if you want to have the flash off, you can do that. There's also an option for auto, always on, and then also a torch as well. So if you want the flash to be on at all times, not just when you're taking a photo, then you have that ability too, which is kind of interesting. And then from here, we can go up to the gear icon in the upper right corner to access even more settings. So we were already in this area for the video settings as far as the video size goes, but there are some other options here as well. So the first one here is shutter sound. So by default, when you're taking a photo or capturing a video, the phone does make a noise, as you can hear right there. So we can go up here, disable that, and then now there is no shutter sound at all. There's also an option here for grid lines. So by enabling that, you do get a 3x3 grid, which kind of helps you set up your photos a little bit better if you want things to look a bit more professional. So that's pretty cool to have. And then you can see here, shortcut to take picture. So when going there, you So basically with this, by default, you can use the volume key to take a photo or capture a video as well. So I just took a photo right there. Let's try it with video. So you can see just like that, I just had to tap on the volume up and then it's now capturing a video. However, if you want it to do something else instead, we can go back to here and you can see that we can actually have it act as a zoom toggle. So we'll go to zoom, go back, and then now volume up zooms in and volume down zooms out. So that's pretty useful. Another kind of hidden thing too is that you can use, of course, this button to switch between the front and rear cameras. However, if you just swipe down on the actual frame here, it'll flip things around. And same thing from the front camera back to the main camera. And then another awesome thing I want to show you as well is that if you want to quickly access the camera app from anywhere throughout the operating system, all you have to do is just double press on the power button. So just like that, it now takes us over to the camera app. So you can do this from anywhere throughout the phone, just double press on that button, and you can see just like that, we're now back to the camera app itself. But let's now do a demonstration of panorama mode. So going over here to the camera app, go to the More tab once again as I showed you, go to panorama, and then now you can see that you click the shutter and you keep moving the phone slowly and continuously in one direction. So we'll give that a try right now. Slowly panning the phone. Have to make sure things line up there as well. Okay, we'll stop that and see what it created. Oh, there's me from the other day. And there we go. There's the photo that I just created with that panorama mode. Now, doing this outdoors definitely will get you a much better result, but that's essentially how it works. Now, another functionality that is pretty hidden here is burst mode. So if you want to take burst photos, all you have to do is just hold down on the shutter button. And you can see, just like that, I just took 13 photos very quickly there. But this concludes my video on camera tips and tricks for the T-Mobile Revvl 6 5G. I definitely went over quite a bit here in this video, and, admittedly, this phone doesn't have a ton of different camera features, but, if you're new to the device, hopefully this gave you a better idea of what all it has to offer. But we are still getting quite a few different cameras, with that 13 megapixel main camera, 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and 2 megapixel macro camera, along with that 5 megapixel front facing camera. Now, I certainly hope that as time goes on, they do give this phone some sort of software update so that we can actually get portrait mode with the front camera, as I do feel like that is kind of a limiting and disappointing thing to see here with this phone. But again, let's be optimistic and hope they add that in the future. However, I don't really have any sort of reason to think that they will. But again, this is camera tips and tricks for the T-Mobile Revvl 6 5G. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.